Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UG podcast, where we talk about becoming deeply rooted in Jesus through real conversations about identity, belonging, and purpose. We're your hosts. I'm Vivian.
Vanya.
And I'm Ethan.
Today, we're talking about friendships. You guys, friendships are an important part of everyday life, they're an important part of connections. Has there ever been a time where you have made a really random connection, a really random friendship, or become friends with someone through a really funny way? Anything like that for you guys?
I would say for me, I enjoy playing sports, and I feel like every time that I play a new game, I always meet a new friend. And it's not even like a like a sportsmanship type of thing, but it's just like, you'll be on the field and you'll just start conversating with other people around you, and it's just like it's really enjoyable. It's really nice. And so I always find that so random to me.
I don't make friends very often. I definitely like to keep to myself. I have a closer circle of friends. Um, I guess like the randomness ish is similar to what Ethan said that I met my closest friend through dance. We were in the same class, and even though that year we knew each other, we've never like connected. In fact, recently I was talking with her and she was like, actually, I didn't like you at first. Like, I thought you were a show off. I thought like I was jealous of you. And but then the next year we moved up a level with each other. And then we just started talking and we really connected with our love for the theater and musical theater. And then the rest is history. And now like she's one of my like I consider her as my like sister. What about you, Vivian?
I would have to say I love talking to people. I talk to people everywhere I go. So there's been quite a few times when I've just kind of made random friends. Like some of my friends I met like shopping, and I like wasn't shopping
Uh-huh.
with them. I was just, doing my own thing, and I started talking to them, and then we just started talking, and that's just how we connected. Stuff like that is definitely really common for me. Very random, completely unintentional,
Mhm.
and it's funny because it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, well, after I finish talking to you, we could either stay connected or we can just move on with our lives. So it's really like
Mm.
a choice, if that's makes sense. Where
Yeah.
Vanya, for you, I think it's probably something where it's like, okay, you're gonna see this girl for the rest of the time that you're
Yeah.
in this dance company.
Yeah, definitely. I've met my friends mainly from other friends, especially, like, more acquaintances. It's mainly come from, like, people that I know other
Yeah.
people, and so I know them, or and then I become friends with them. But yeah, just the introvert life. You don't make
That's
friends that
funny.
often, but you do cherish the ones that you do make.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
Um, you definitely like at first I was really insecure about like not being as outgoing as a lot of the people in my class. Um, or that I was never the one that would always talk. I always felt really awkward trying to talk to people. Um, because I was very quiet and especially if the other person was quiet, it was really hard to make conversation because I'm not good at making conversation with people. Better with people talking coming and talking to me than me going talking to other people. Mm, and so you kinda like, you just get, like, used to it in a way. I don't know how to, like, explain it, but you just kinda like, you just, like you learn how to, connect with people, in your own way, and like I said, even though I don't make, like, 50 friends a day, the friends that I do make, like, I really do cherish. Like, they're long lasting. Well, some of them are long lasting, and, like, even, like, my closest friend from dance, like, now we've known each other for, like, what, 6 years, and Even though we're not in the same studio anymore, we're still very close. We still stay in touch. We still support each other and in our own journeys through life. And same with a lot of my friends from that studio. Like, it's still, even though we're not going on the same path, we're still super close with each other and still super supportive. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I'm an extrovert. So for me, I have the other side of it where it's just like I don't mind coming up and talking to people. And I think that's part of the reason why introverts and extroverts are like usually like a pair. Like, best friends are usually one's one, because one of them can just listen. And they
Mhm.
warm up to you eventually and stuff.
Yeah. Hmm.
It just makes it flow more easily.
Definitely.
Ethan, what about you? Would you say you're kind of an introvert, an extrovert? Where
I
have you
feel like
struggled with making friendships?
for me, I feel like I'm kind of like on the line because I feel like I have moments where I'm definitely more introverted than extroverted. Then I have moments where I'm definitely more extroverted than introverted. So
Makes sense.
it's kind of difficult for me, but I feel like as in if we're talking about friendships, I don't struggle too much trying to make friends. Like I mentioned, for me, it's through sports. I meet a lot of my friends through sports, through playing basketball, through playing soccer, and even like some old friendships that I have, like when I was growing up and I used to play in like little like minor leagues. Like I still have some of those friendships to this day with
Yeah.
just the different people that I've played sports with. So for
Yeah.
me, I'm kind of like on the line, but
Mm.
as in like friendships, I never really struggle that much to make friends. Um,
Mm.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely helps being and having similar hobbies, and that's how you meet people.
Hmm.
Because it kind of gives you an like automatic like of like, oh yeah, I like doing this too.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So we've talked about, making friends, but what about keeping friends?
Mm.
What's your biggest way of maintaining a relationship? It can be so
That was
hard, especially when things get
it's
busy.
so definitely that's one thing I definitely struggled with making friends and then maintaining the friendship. Because obviously life happens. People go, sometimes you like separate or like, life just happens and people move to different countries or states and others, you move schools or um it's definitely not easy. It's not an easy thing to maintain a friendship and sometimes some friendships will just fade away. And that's just reality. Sometimes some friends are just not they're there for a season and then, you know, you move on with life. Mm,
Yeah,
but definitely, like, you do have to put effort if you want to keep a friendship going. One thing that really helped me was communicating, even if that means just like, um, if you see something that reminded them about you, just like text them and be like, oh, hey, this reminded me of you.
I definitely agree with that, Vanya. And kind of like you said, it is harder when you're not necessarily seeing them every day. I know one of my best friends, I don't see her like rarely ever, but every once in a while, like we'll plan to call and we usually talk for a few hours and catch up on everything, and then it may be another month before we talk again. But just that little bit of effort goes so far in just keeping that friendship and maintaining that friendship, being in each other's lives.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
What I'll say is I really like how Vanya, really like how you said that some friendships like they're there for a season and then they're gone. Like
Mhm.
I really like that because back to the sports thing, like, you see them like once or maybe twice a year and then you don't see them ever again, really. And so like I feel like a lot of times whenever we think of friendships, we think of like long lasting friendships, but you know, in the sports realm, it's not really like that. It's kind of like a one-time thing. You see him,
Mhm.
and you may see him again randomly in the future, but then like that's really it. And I just feel like understanding that like that's okay. Like it's okay for you to make friends with someone, and they're there for maybe like a couple hours, and then you don't see them really ever again. Like that's okay. And it's okay for you to form those friendships and those relationships and those bonds because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be something that's good, something that can grow you personally, something that builds like endurance for you. So,
Absolutely. And Ethan, to kind of piggyback after off of that, I think it's also important to remember that people change too. And so as a result of that, friendships change. Your maturity level changes, your life experience changes, just based off of the things that you go through and what's going on with you. And that's okay, that's normal, that's healthy. And so there are times when you just outgrow certain friendships. Um, it's nothing against the other person. It's just y'all just aren't you don't connect the same way anymore.
And that doesn't mean that that friendship is less valuable or like a waste of time. No, you learn things from each friendship. And you can still cherish and be like, that was a good time. Like that was a great time. I had great memories. And I'll cherish that and
Absolutely.
I'll take it with me.
Absolutely. I love that, Anya. So, talking about friendship and friendship that, lasts a long time and doesn't always last a while, why is friendship so important? Why is it worth putting in the time to maintain those relationships and to make connections?
what I'll say is I feel like definitely the people that you form those relationships with, the people that you form those friendships with, are the people that you become, especially if they are long-lasting friendships or friendships that you maintain, because it's important that you know, we shape ourselves around the people that we want to be like. Like, we want to see Jesus in the people around us because that's who we ultimately become. It's like how the Bible talks about whenever we talk about relationships, it says like find a partner that you are equally yoked with. It's kind of like
Hmm.
that. Like you want to surround yourself with a community that will not only help benefit yourself, but also that you can benefit them, if that makes sense.
Mm, yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely agree with Ethan on that. That it's super important friendships because it does shape you. I don't know. I think you said it pretty well.
Yeah. And to kind of give an example on that, I don't know about you guys, but there's definitely been times when I'll be hanging out with one person, and it's just a very uplifting atmosphere. It's very encouraging, like very upbeat, like not a lot of complaining, not a lot of negativity. And then I'll go see this other friend. And then all of a sudden it's just like a very negative atmosphere. The way I am and the way I act can kind of change and shift to fit, connecting with that person. And it's not always the best thing.
Mhm.
Um, and it's important to be aware of that, those, friendships that are maybe don't affect you in the positive way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy you brought that up because definitely there are friendships that can be very unhealthy. I've gone through a lot of friendships that in me not in the best way. Well, especially in middle school, it was very hard to make friends. And even the friends I did have, it was very, very toxic. A lot of bullying, a lot of people putting other people down. And it's definitely hard, I think, especially as like mm, introverts, because, or at least for me, I don't make friends very often. So my circle of people I knew were very small. And it's definitely very scary to like get out of that group of people and go find new people and to put yourself out there to find healthier and yeah, healthier friends when this is like all you've known and is free. But I would recommend if you're dealing with that, if you're dealing with one who puts you down instead of lifts you up, who says that they're your friend, but really treats you like, you know, you're nothing to them, you know, like talking with someone you can trust, like a parent or guardian or another friend that you trust, to that they could help you like get out of that situation and to be a support system because I know that transition can be extremely lonely. Um, and so, yeah, just talking and being open with people that you can trust to help you get out of the situation and to be there and support you as you go through that transition phase.
Yeah. And I think, Vanya, that's a great example of what a fake friend looks like. Um, and something to always be aware of because there will be people who, call you friends and, say that, they're here for you and they support you and all of this stuff, but at the same time, they're not treating you necessarily the best way. And that's something that you have to be able to recognize and evaluate because although it can be hard, it is important to get yourself out of those situations.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, what I'll say is it's definitely like just to really emphasize it, like it's definitely really important that you get yourself out of those friendships that are not a benefit to you. Because
Mhm.
I know, like, sometimes we put ourselves into relationships or we put ourselves into friendships, and sometimes it can seem like demanding, like, this person really wants to be your friend, but like, deep inside, like, this person is not meant to be my friend. It's just really important that we find healthy friendships and we find healthy relationships that we put ourselves in.
And leaving a friendship does not mean that you hate them now or that you will never talk to them ever in your life unless it's like, you know, dangerous or, like extremely unhealthy. Um, or does that mean, or it means like, man, I hate this person. This person's the worst person in the entire world. And, I resent this person. Like, no, we are also called to forgive and to also love. And if loving them means that like you can love them from far away. Doesn't have to be loving someone does not have mean that you have to be by their side like all day and all night. And, you know, loving them can also mean like you can love them from a distance and pray for them and yeah, and just be like, hey, I love you and I care for you, but it's just this is hurting me and I
Mhm.
can't like I won't if you have too much control over me and I'm not gonna you know what I mean? I don't know what the right word is,
Mhm.
but
No, that was very well explained. Um, I definitely agree with that. And kind of to, kind of look at the opposite of that, talking about fake friends, well, what does a real friend look like?
mm, it's someone that will be by your side and lift you up. And that that the friendship is equal. It's not you giving everything and the person is giving nothing, or the opposite, you giving nothing and the person's giving everything. It's like it's equal. You both put the same effort and you both the same time. You both put the same effort in the relationship and you both care deeply about the other person. That one doesn't put you down or that like lifts you up. Um, and someone like a great way to tell that your relationship um, is like healthy and good is that also like what you said, Vivian, is that like you don't feel drained when you're
Mm,
with them, like that heaviness and that like draining from that person that you just feel, even though it was super tiring and now you need to like recharge your battery, like you're like, man, that was such a great hangout. That was such a great talk.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think like walking away from a conversation, like my friends that I know are healthy friendships and healthy relationships, when I walk away from a conversation from them, I'm never thinking about like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I don't like how when they said this, it made me feel this way. You know what
Mhm,
I mean? It's something where it's
mhm,
very much like, I know that if I do feel that way, I can talk to them about it. And I think
mhm,
that's also a really important sign of a healthy friendship is you should feel comfortable enough to be able to tell them, "Hey, I didn't like when you said this," or "Hey, I
mhm,
should have never said this. I'm sorry."
mhm. Or that you feel like you can be yourself. Like you're
Mhm.
not putting on a face and putting on this performance that you can just be yourself.
Absolutely. And to kind of keep going off of that, I think another thing is, um, they should be able to also kind of call you out on things that you might need help with or might need work on. You know what I mean? Like, my best friend, she'll tell me, hey, you acted out of line here. And I do think that's a healthy friendship too. I think that when you get to that place where you trust each other and you trust each other's opinions, then it's healthy for them to say, that maybe you shouldn't have said the things that you said or shouldn't have acted the way that you acted, and for them to communicate with you that, you hurt their feelings too. Um, Being able to express your opinions to each other and your feelings, um, I think is a big sign of a healthy friendship.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, what does the Bible talk friendships um, and how a friendship should look like, and what are some examples?
That's a really good question, Vanya. Um, yeah, that's a really good question. Ethan, do you have anything?
What I'll say is, I know in John 15, it kind of talks about how Jesus calls us to be his friend. And so, it's like, how can we relate that, like Jesus calling us to be his friend, into our real life, like our daily selves? How can we relate that? And so, it's almost like the love that you show towards the people that you surround yourself with. It's almost like the way that you look at other people. You don't look at them for what they've done in the past, like how Jesus looks at us. Jesus doesn't look at us like based off our past and the sins that we've committed, but he looks at us with love, and he looks at us with out of the grace of his heart. And so I feel like that's how we need to be in terms of looking
Mhm.
towards other people, in terms of looking at our friends. We should
Mhm.
look at them not based off what they've done in the past, but based off of who they're becoming and based off of what Jesus can do through their life.
That's
I
so good.
love that. And I think, talking about Jesus, I also think that, Jesus is obviously our example for everything. That's who we're supposed to mold our life on how we want to live by,
Mhm.
And the way he interacts with his disciples and his friends,
Yeah.
the way he treats them, I think is such a valuable way of, a characteristic and the way that we should mold our friendships off of too. Um, in UG studies and Bible study, actually, we just got done reading chapter 18, but in chapter 17, one of the things that we love to talk about was Jesus's prayer before they came and arrested him, and the crucifixion and everything. And the entire prayer was for his disciples, and for them to have guidance and to feel, God's presence in this time. Um, and, just for them to continue to move in the direction of the kingdom of God rather than in the direction of Satan in the world. And I think that that is such a prime example of how we should treat our friends and how we should think of our friends. That even when we're going through stuff, we're still making sure our friends are okay. We're still praying for them. We're still being there for them. And I think that just shows Jesus's love for his disciples. And that's something that we should show in our friendships too. To kind of go off of that, is there any friendships in your life that you have really learned from?
Many. Mm.
I would say they're all kind of like unique in their own way. Like you may feel like sometimes you have friendships that you will not learn anything from. Like you feel like that, like once you leave that friendship, you feel like it was a waste of time. Like, but honestly, like each friends that we have, that's the beauty of it. Like God made us all so different, and we're able to grow in such different ways, and through these experiences with these friends that we've made over the years. And so, yeah, I feel like they're all unique in a way in which we can grow, and in which we can maybe even potentially grow closer to God.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess now it's just we want to challenge you guys and challenge ourselves to, evaluate our relationships and evaluate the way we treat other people and the way others treat us. and just be the kind of person that we want to be friends with. And I think that's huge. And I think we hear that a lot growing up, but it is so important and it's difficult, but it's so worth it to just, be able to look and see, oh, I really like how this person treats me. I want to implement that into my friendships too. So I guess that's it for today. We're gonna go ahead and close out, but thank you so much for joining us at the UG podcast, and we can't wait to see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.